Ooh, it's us again. Back to
Double
back.
header itong week.
Double header. Yeah.
Mhm.
Double header. So we had Bricks
Bricks
Ramos
Ramos.
last Tuesday, no?
Tuesday lang. Yes.
Tuesday lang, and with our special co-host, JP Mercado.
One of my
So we're in.
titos.
Yeah, you're one of your titos. It went well. We learned more about Bricks and his old OG UP hangout people.
Right.
Diba? So I think Claro's excited. I'm excited for this
hmm
episode
I
because
can say this guest gets it to go because we
gets
hear him say that UAAP. And I've been watching UAAP ever since I can remember. And then, there's this 1 year. Oh, it's Boom. And he became a fixture. Am I surprised? No.
and I think he's also part of our green family. I'm not sure. I
Oh,
think he
really?
is. Huh? Is he?
Let's ask. Let's find out.
Look, we can ask. So
Oh,
why
no.
don't we start episode 105 with Mr. Boom Gonzalez?
Yeah, hey, I can
Claro,
bring him in.
you can bring him in.
Yeah,
Hello.
hey.
Hello.
Hi,
Well, wait
Boom.
a minute. Hello. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you guys. Wait a minute. What do you mean green family? What are we talking about here?
LaSalle. Are you
Okay,
Are you
so
LaSalle?
okay,
Okay.
perfect. Because I had this conversation on the last day of um, the UAP with some volleyball analysts about this whole thing because obviously I get it every year from both sides on social media, whether it's basketball or volleyball. I'm from neither, and
What?
I have a lot of great stories about accusations in person, or not just accusations, but even friendships or brotherhoods that apparently I have from either school, from both schools that really do not exist. But I have friends on both sides. Um, and when I'm seen with one player, rumors abound, from this school or the opposite school. When I'm seen with a coach of another school, the other school starts talking. So it comes with the territory. But no, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Colleen,
Oh,
but
okay.
I am not from any
Integrity.
UAAP school actually. So that,
Oh,
yeah, so
Mhm.
that's even
that
better.
that's interesting. That
Oh,
makes it
hey.
more interesting. All right.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Uh,
about Boom. So let us know. I've been reading articles that
mm,
you're actually really a big basketball fan. A fanboy is one of them. Who actually introduced you to the game?
Well, I'm both a big fan of basketball and volleyball, the two sports that that I cover and I've been covering for many years, including tennis. I don't cover tennis, but I'm a big fan of that too. It was always my dad. It was my dad who introduced me to the game when I was, I mean, as young as I can remember, and it's the same with volleyball. I started playing volleyball just like basketball at such an early age. So both sports really I have been playing for a very long time, and um, played with teams also, uh, uh, all the way till high school and college. So I actually did play the game. Obviously, not in the level of the people that I cover,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But yeah, so it. I love both sports with a passion.
So you played basketball in your, we do not know your school.
I do. I
May we
did.
know
I
your
played
school?
bas. I
Oh, what
played
school?
okay, so I came from very small Catholic schools. I played basketball and volleyball when I was in grade school for Immaculate Conception. That was in New Manila. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, along near the Balete Drive area.
That
So
area.
Okay.
All right.
yeah, so in New Manila, correct. So there, I also played um, both sports all the way till college when I was with Miriam when they were still boys
Wow.
in Miriam back in the day. So yeah, high school the same.
Okay. And then college,
Milo
in
Best
terms
also I did I think like 6 7 years of Milo Best back in the day. Yeah,
with the
made a lot of
Nicore.
friendships. Yes, made a lot of great friends there. From who became obviously very popular collegiate players eventually. Yeah, and under Coach Nick Horea and so many other great coaches who were part of that program.
Okay. Cloudy, you have something?
Oh, well, some comments. Pat Mendoza, one of the followers of the show, says good evening.
Right.
And he guessed earlier FEU. I was going to guess FEU also. I read the report, no, some on online search, pero I couldn't really
Ang
confirm.
dami
Parang,
yan. Ang
alam,
dami
yeah.
yan. Marami, sobra. My brothers from FEU, my other brothers from UST, my mom's from UST. So all of them are actually from UAP schools. I am from
No.
none whatsoever, really.
This is this is the reason why I think you were in this, because you were holding a ball
You
that has
see it.
DLSU.
Maybe because DLSU is the host of this year's UAP, and when we did
Okay.
that photo shoot, we held the ball that was going to be used for
Right.
this year. So that was held prior to the start of UAP basketball.
Okay. So now we know Boom is not from any UAAP school. There you go.
Uh,
So that answers it.
yeah, so
Or
please don't
confirm.
blame me when your school or your team loses. It's really not my fault.
I'm sure you were part of many rivalries in the UAP, both basketball and volleyball, and we'll get to that later. No,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Boom, you played basketball, you played volleyball. Unfortunately, you didn't go professional. What made you swing to like becoming a sports commentator, or did you ever think that you wanted to be a sports commentator?
Well, as early as high school, even when I was playing, I was also kind of exposed to media. I was exposed to radio at an early age. My dad was also involved in both radio and TV. So I was also kind of moonlighting in radio stations um, towards the end of my high school. And by college, I was already working at a radio station and using it as hours for for your practicum and all of that, billable hours kumbaga, kasama na. I also played. I was a DJ in bars also and in
Yeah,
clubs before. I was a major music head, which is the reason why I was you know in radio for more than 20 years, to be
yeah,
exact. So yeah, so broadcasting has been part of it. I've always, like, even in school, I would be hosting stuff, just even the school stuff, the class stuff. So it's always been, I guess, part of it. And then eventually, after 5 years of radio, I went into TV via a show called Game Plan, the old the old one. Um,
Mm.
and I was like a semi regular correspondent. So I did segments in marathons, very, different sports, pero mga segment lang. And then
That's not
eventually,
it.
yeah. No, this one
No,
is
that's
already
this
this
game.
this picture that you're showing is already from ANC. So I was already with
Right.
ABS-CBN, and I had my show. This one was with Gretchen Pulido. This one was called Game Zone. So, but the original game plan was hosted by Susie and her husband Paulo Abrera,
Paulo,
the
yeah, yes,
original one. So I
yeah.
was still in school and I was doing like semi-correspondent work, a couple, and then I got into the PBL via a walk-in
Oh,
audition, kind of. I was also rejected prior to the
what?
audition for the PBL. Yeah, 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 I was. So when I auditioned at first for the PBA, that was, I think, 99 or 98. And then I did not get that. But on the way home, I was called by one of the directors of the PBA and said, "Hey, we might have something for you. We're gonna send your number to this guy, and then we'll see. You're not yet ready for the PBA. Maybe you can get your reps in, your licks in on this league, which was the PBL back then, Philippine Basketball League, which was handled by Chino Trinidad." I remember the director, Direct Dong Kapinpuyan from the PBA, was the one who sent my number to him, and Chino called me in, walk in, and just interviewed me for like 45 minutes. And he just said, you want to go on TV the next day and just try it out? And then I remember, I said yes. And I remember I had a 38-degree fever that day when I was about to go on TV, but I had to say yes, right? Because Chino might not have given me the opportunity if I said no or another shot at it. So I said, yeah, let's go, let's do it. I didn't know anything about the league that much back then. So part of it was just studying for 24 hours, and then the rest is kind of like winging it and learning as I went on. And yeah, so became a regular anchor kaagad sa PBL. And then eventually I worked in the PBA. Eventually I finally made it, but I think a year and a half into the PBA, that's when the UAAP called me in 2002 and
Okay.
asked me if I wanted to join the UAAP because they felt um, I was perfect for college back then. Maybe because I still look collegiate back then, 2002. And I was also working for a radio station which actually had a college market, Magic 89.9 or RX 93.1 at that time.
Right,
Both radio stations have collegiate markets. So I felt like it made sense. And
right.
I felt like I wasn't ready for the big leagues, which was the PBA at that time. I felt like I was overwhelmed. Um, of course, you don't think about it during that time. You think about it after na parang, wow, that was, working with big Ed Pixon, Skinito Hensons,
Oh,
Norman
wow.
Blacks already at such a young age with barely a year of experience in the PBL. I thought, in hindsight, in retrospect, I thought uh, I was not ready for that. But you got to take these things.
Yeah.
You have to take these opportunities. And if I didn't do the PBA, even if I, in my personal opinion, performed lousily in the PBA for almost 2 years, the UAP wouldn't have noticed me and asked me to join ABS-CBN. So that's when I made the jump, 2002.
I
Wow.
remember Magic 89.9, Friday
Yes.
Madness.
Yeah,
Ma-
Yeah,
yeah,
You would
we're
yeah.
play
driving to
80s
school.
music, right? Mga 80s, not new wave.
80s, 90s,
Oh,
90s, yeah.
Yeah. We'd
Yeah.
even
they
have
don't
a
make music that
class
way anymore.
where we're drafting like the blueprints. It's an hour and 40 minutes, and then one guy just takes the radio. Let's go play Friday Madness. That's one of my
Yeah.
memories I can say in school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were hoping to be part of many memories of a lot of students back then. So
Oh, yeah.
that's why it made sense for me to make a move, start anew with the UAP, start from a collegiate league. And the UAP at that time too, we're 2 years in. We're not, it wasn't as big as it is obviously
No.
when it got to the 2008s, 2010s, whatever, right? Kasi 2000 napunta yung contract sa ABS-CBN. Um, and then so I felt like I grew with the coverage, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
you know what I mean. So, and I think that's where I think the satisfaction also came from. I was learning the ropes. I was, making mistakes alongside the broadcast company who had the contract of the UAP for only a couple of years. So they were also, developing the market, the product, and the broadcast. So I felt like I was growing with it. So I felt really at home in the UAP, regardless of whether I did not belong
Yeah.
to any UAP school.
So many
Just
things
from a
are flashing.
broadcasting standpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, just
now
from
you
a
see
Yeah. I
it
was gonna
broadcasting
say, yeah.
standpoint. Yeah.
flashing
Yeah.
before my eyes. Like you in Studio 23, UAP
Yeah.
coverage.
Yeah.
It's like sports, and then there's a bunch of lifestyle stuff, and then it
Yeah.
became sports in action. I'm like, wow,
Right.
it's so easy to picture you there. Now
Yeah.
that you're saying it, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's basically like the story. And then I did a lot of the other shows already with ANC on 23 also. And eventually the NBA come 2011, I started going on trips already with DJ Manotok. I think we did a total of 11 or 12 trips to the NBA eventually.
yeah. I
Wow.
think before what
Yeah.
Claudia's looking for a picture in NBA.
Yeah.
When did things pave way for gets it to go? Normally,
Oh,
someone takes shoots a three, and then
a
Yeah.
lot
you
of them
say it.
say it now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I, you know
exactly.
what? I don't know when that was born or if a and I'm not trying to be all, trying to play coy or anything like that. It's just I remember saying this in another podcast a year ago that so I'm not too conscious about the moments, and I'm
Mm,
not also conscious about setting up moments because it takes away from the spontaneity of sports. I feel like when I pre-plan too many things, um, I make it about me. So
really?
one of the things that I always, even when I train, new broadcasters now in the UAP is I always say that you'll get to a point where you realize this is not about us. We play a role. So I'm sorry if I can't answer the question about when, but maybe it was around 2005 already when I was a little bit more confident about myself, about my style, about my preparation, my training. Maybe that's when those things came out, and then it just clicked. I mean, people started saying it back to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, but I think that's what works. That the fact that I don't pre-plan those things. There are certain things that you can plan for, but the rest I would like it to be spontaneous because it's sports. So you want the emotion to also not be fabricated and
Right.
manufactured. So you want it to be also, natural. And I think people can tell naman if I'm faking it or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but my number one rule in the UAP eventually as I got older was this is not your show. Don't make
Mm,
it about you. Um, don't think that you're the center of it all. It's about the league, it's about the players, and I play a role, and my role is as an anchor. I anchor the broadcast
right.
between the director, the analyst, the reporters, the producers, the script writers. They have a blueprint. My job is to execute it, in my own way and work with them. But this is not my show. It's never been. So I think that's one of the things that I think that has worked for me is every year I always say to myself, it's not about me. It's
Right.
really about the athletes. Yeah.
If I can follow up
Wow.
real quick, would you
Yeah.
remember? Was
Mm,
it in 2005 too that people go up to you and go, "Gets it to go"? Because
yeah.
we attended that workshop of Sir Noel. One speaker who's an anchor said he's in the mall, and people go up and say, "Bang!" and he's like, "Oh no, is there a bomb?" So would that happen to
Yeah.
you? People will randomly like,
Yeah.
"What the heck are you saying?"
Yes. 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 It
Gets it
it
to
I
go.
think it was around that time that it caught on, I guess. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what you said. It's natural because if you plan it, it doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. It has to roll off
Yeah.
directly on you
Right.
know.
I just want to be careful about not being um too pretentious about those things, about phrases and catchphrases, because I think, again, when I was younger, my dad, and he has passed away already, but my dad would always train me to focus on the right things. And catchphrases, as great as they are, as things that people will remember, they won't mean anything if your fundamentals of broadcasting are not sound, I guess would be the word that I'm looking for. The catchphrase is supposed to be probably like the cherry on the ice cream, so to speak, but the ice cream is still the work. And
That's right.
the catchphrases are like what, 4 or 5 times in a game. Let's say it's basketball. So in the 4 quarters, what do you do throughout that game that gives your coverage meat and substance?
Mm,
And no matter how good your catchphrase is, it's not going to fake or cover up, the lack of substance if you don't have substance when you're anchoring or analyzing or whatever. So that cannot mask it, or at least it won't mask it for third, fourth, fifth game. You
yeah.
can probably get away with it with 1 or 2 games, but eventually we have such an intelligent, you guys, diba, you know this very well. We have such an intelligent sports audience,
Oh
and they
gosh,
can
yeah.
tell. They can tell,
Oh, they
sometimes
can
too
tell.
intelligent.
Especially with social media, they could be really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
intelligent.
But
Yeah,
they can
especially
tell
nowadays.
whether
Yeah.
you're just I don't want to use the word, but you're just beating around the bush, or just
Yeah.
lying, or just making up things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Or if you're winging it, but
Yeah,
but
that's a
right,
great phrase, yes, that I don't like using.
right.
I like using it in workshops and in
Yeah,
seminars, because
but
it's this
we could
one of
use
the
it. We
things
could.
that yeah, it's the one thing that I always remind the young ones, not to come in and think that you can always wing it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard, especially doing it in 4 quarters. Oh gosh, you have to do your research. We had our good friend is Boy at Season. I think he has almost the same career as you, DJ. Then he also became a sports
Right.
right,
And
and
we
he
hosted a
also
show together. I mean, I sent a picture
yes,
with
yes, you did.
Papa B.
Yeah, Papa B.
Yeah.
Oh, we miss you.
Rest in
Anyway,
peace.
rest in
Yes.
peace. We miss the guy. But he
Yeah.
would say, do your research. He always would tell us, do your research and study well before getting into the game. And I think that's exactly what you're also trying to say is we got to
Mm.
be prepared. You know.
Yeah. And preparation can mean so many things. There's also, you can do your research, but you also have to learn how to use it too. There's also that danger as broadcasters that you want to keep plugging in all of the information that you've researched, all because you've researched for it, right? And you feel ayaw mo masayang. I would tell the courtside reporters, or now the correspondents, I would always tell them it's better to have a lot of it than to have less of it, or the lack
Mm,
of research. Because in every year that I do the games, I do the interviews with the players, even when I'm here in Singapore, and I talk to a lot of the basketball and volleyball players just for my own personal research. Probably 70%, 60% of that I don't even get to use,
right.
because you also have to find spots where you can use it and it's relevant. You just cannot bombard the audience just because
Yeah.
you know it, and just because you've researched for it. Maybe you can use it now sometimes the year after or 2 years after. Oh, I had a conversation with her 2 years ago. This reminds me of that conversation. But you can't use it every time, or you can't use everything that you have just for the sake of also. So yes, obviously it's better to be prepared and have all of this in front of you, so that when you need it, diba,
May
you'll have
baon
it.
ka. May
Imbis
baon.
na deer in the headlights ka na, diba, you're just throwing out stock knowledge. And
Yeah.
but yeah, but there's a rule also when it comes to research. You just don't want to put them in your face ba? Parang you're
Right.
forcing
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
down the throat of your audience
May
na
alam
wala
ako.
namang relevance.
Tama.
Yes, yes.
May
Na
alam
wala
ako
namang
kaya
relevance.
you
Na
know
wala
Boom.
namang relevance siya.
Yeah, tama. Boom. Clara and I we're friends with a lot of the anchor sports
Yeah, I'm sure.
analysts, right? And one thing they would always say, actually, Noel's out of there. I remember saying this that they would always put the baguhans na analysts sa'yo. They'll always pair you up with the newbies.
It's true.
Do you know
Yeah, yeah.
why? Yeah, and throughout the UAAP, you had a lot of newbies, right? And we're gonna show you the photos, but
Many,
um,
many years. Yeah.
yeah,
Now more than
why?
ever, actually. Now more than
Yeah,
ever that we're in a brand new company, and we're training new talents like, of course, Larry and JV, and even the volleyball analysts, who have no background in broadcasting. Your question was why? I don't know. That just happened actually when midway through my ABS-CBN sports career, they put the newbies with me, maybe because of my experience with the radio. With radio, I also have a ton of co-hosts, and I trained a lot of co-hosts also. So I always say my job was always to adjust to them because they cannot adjust to me. Even
mm,
if you think that's the way it's supposed to be. And some people probably will be like that. They'll be stubborn in their ways. But to me, sila yung baguhan eh. They have to understand certain things first, fundamentals and all of that, so, which means I have to adjust to them. And kailangan mo alalayan. Sometimes
yeah,
you have to hold their hand figuratively, right? And conduct them through it. And then there are ones who are a little more self-reliant. So that's how I have to read it. So
right,
because I've been a host, on radio for many years, and in radio, that's what we do very well. The DJs, whether it's Noel or Siboyet or even just pure DJs, they know how to adjust to different people. So when it came to TV, I think that's what happened. They threw all the newbies to me because of my background of adjusting as a host. Generally, it wasn't just about sportscasting, because I adjusted. I obviously, imagine I host a ton of events also, right?
yeah,
Corporate,
yeah,
sports, or what have you. So that's different co-hosts also. So I have to
right,
adjust to them too. So I always say that. So and then now my role here in Signal really was to be that for all these people that you're flashing right now in terms of
yeah,
the pictures. I'm trying to make them comfortable. I'm trying to give them confidence.
yeah,
Trying to teach them the basics, but also making sure, and this I learned as I got older, making sure that I'm not over teaching them. They have to
mm,
learn certain things on their
right,
own. They have to make their own mistakes. I cannot overmanage them. I only, and I've learned that as I got older. When you're younger, you're super enthusiastic also to teach, that
yeah,
you may be overdoing it also. And I realized that as I went along this picture. This is a classic example of, this was a cheer dance competition. And if you know the cheer dance competition, I've been with so many hosts from the showbiz world.
mm,
So I had to adjust to them too, and make them feel like we're a team. So maybe that's I would like to think it's a skill, I guess, that
yeah,
not everybody can do that. So that until now, it's my job. So even now, Miko Halili would tell me, boom, babato ko sa'yo si Larry, ah. Boom, babato ko sa'yo si Isaac. O first game ni Gia Morado, babato ko siya sa'yo. Or si Bea De Leon. And I was say, game, game, game. And some of them I knew prior to working with them. A lot of them I don't. So that's a challenge to me. I like the
yeah.
challenge. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think it's the way you make them feel comfortable. That's what I've been hearing as well. Claro?
But that's good. I hope so, because that's the number one thing
Yeah,
that it's comfort and confidence, sana, that you want to give them. The
yeah.
rest is up to them na.
About like you like as a mentor, where do you draw that fine line of, oh, I'm over teaching already, and oh, I gotta lift off the gas pedal?
It's hard. It's different from person to person. There are some people talaga na you have to do more.
Mm,
You know, how do I? It's okay. You guys play sports, right?
yeah,
Um, in whatever sport, there are people. Let's say if you're a coach or you're a trainer or you're a mentor or you're a senior or the veteran in the team, meron kang alalayan. And then mapapansin mo, may mga iba na, uy, these are more, I don't want to use the word talented, but I always say, just like in sports, the correspondents and the reporters, they have their own learning curves. Eh? Just like athletes. Some learn slower than others. But when they learn, they catch up or they become elite athletes. It's the same with correspondents and reporters. Some may pick up certain concepts about broadcasting and hosting later than the others or slower than the others, but when they get it, oh boy, they really get it, and they get it good, right? To a point na, okay, konting ano na lang to, di ba? Rough around the edges na lang. So it really depends, Claro, in terms of who it is. There's no parang fixed line na ano na pwede ko nang bitawan to, or but now more than ever I'm conscious about it also because I don't want to overdo it also. I had this conversation recently with another person, and I also had this conversation with Pinky Webb. I think it was a year and a half ago. That's why I'm very uncomfortable with the word mentor, which they use, right? And obviously, I'm not going to tell them off for it. But it's more guiding lang, encouraging with certain people. It's really cheering them on. It's not necessarily always technical stuff, because that happens during the seminars and all the simulations that we do. And then in the first few games, it's technical, it's technical, it's technical. The rest is really just infusing confidence in them. It's positivity around the workplace that they,
Yeah.
if they're having a positive experience, the learning becomes faster, the growth also is faster. And if it's a stressful environment for them, and I feel
Wala.
that's an additional responsibility on my part as an anchor. It may not be what some anchors believe, but I believe it's part of my responsibility to make sure that the environment that they're working around is also very positive so that their learning becomes faster and it's an enjoyable thing. And also,
Yun.
if I may, one last point. If, as you know, you've been watching the UAP for a long time, you know that not all of these reporters or correspondents last or go
Yeah.
into the business or become who what they want to be originally. Some really find a different life and are very happy with their life. So what does that mean? That means that I think my mission is, for the short time that they experience the UAP or broadcasting, it was a positive one, that they can look back at it 5 years from now, 6 years, 10 years from now, and said that, hey, I had so much fun. It's not necessarily singling out somebody. Oh, he was good to me, she was good to me. Nasa sa kanila na yun. But the intention now is, oh, they can look back at it as a very positive experience in their life. And maybe it led to something, right? But it started with that positive experience. Because if it was a stressful, negative experience na with nitpicking and all of that, with coupled with the social media barrage that they're going to get, it's just not good for their mental health, as we talk
That's
about that
right.
now. So to me, that's the important part. If they move on into a career of hosting and broadcasting, whether it's in sports or not, because some go into showbiz, some go into news, and I was a positive part of it, or the time they spent around us and me was positive, your job is done. The technical
Nice.
stuff, that changes kasi, as you know, Claudia and Claro, the technical stuff that I taught, let's say 10 years ago, may not apply anymore now because the
Different.
different broadcasting strategies, all of these things, the geeky stuff. So that, to me, is not the most important part. To me, the most important part as I got older was to realize that they had a really good experience and positive experience, and hopefully it contributed to their careers, whatever career they chose.
And it further hits the bullseye on why you're that guy to ease newbies in.
Thank you.
If I can add though, like I'm sure you don't always have to work with like the new guns. Who could you say is like a veteran you enjoy working with, in a sense that you have that Kobe Shaq chemistry or that Pippen Jordan, where you know his next move and he or she knows, yeah,
Oh,
vice
well,
versa.
yeah, for many years, obviously, I was partners with TJ Manotok, for a long time. I think we worked together for a total of, and this includes the NBA, a total of probably 13, 14 years of being co-hosts. whether it's the NBA or UAP basketball, or even TV shows, or even the early days of the Ascals. We used to be partners back then. We were doing football, which, you know, I'm glad it's not in my hands anymore, and it was passed on to more capable hosts, and more credible hosts. But yeah, TJ would be, I guess, on top of that because of the longevity that we had together. But there's so many people. Mosey Ravenna, obviously, and I worked together for so long in volleyball. Ian Laurel, Doc Ian Laurel, also for volleyball. We had such great chemistry. Alex Compton back in those days. I don't know, Clara, if you
Oh my
remember, and Coach
Super,
Ryan
super iconic
Gregorio, right? I
analysis.
loved I loved working with Coach Alex and Coach Ryan, and they were so good to me also. And they were, di ba, veterans na rin at that time. They were Coach Norman was very good to me also when the few times that I did work with him. Again, I don't remember specifics, but I just remember the great experience.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, and then now in volleyball, there's so many really great analysts that I had so much fun with this year,
Yeah, because they're
and
all from
even
the
basketball.
UAE.
Yeah, Coach Willie
Yeah.
Wilson and myself. I think
Mhm.
we've gotten a few comments that our tandem seems to be
Yeah.
promising. So
Yeah. There's three people
Larry
in
and
my house who
myself.
say that
Yeah.
about Willie
Oh,
Wilson.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's a good
Um,
friend of the pod.
Yep.
is he? There you
Record
go. Well,
holder for longest
Record world.
episode. Pero sadya yun talaga. Will's like, I'm competitive. I want to do this.
They want to do this. We were
there
just
you
talking
go.
2 hours and
There
like and
you
a
go.
half. I want to
There
be
you go.
everyone. I want to be
There
everyone.
you go.
He
This
cured my
is
fatigue.
Coach Willie Wilson.
Willie Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've gotten comments that we work well together, but I also do not want to get carried away by those things because again, all of these things is a matter of parang taste din yan eh, di ba?
Yeah.
You know, you like some anchors, you don't like some anchors, that's fine. It's like your lola's sinigang versus my lola's sinigang. Ganun lang talaga yan eh, di ba? May mas masarap. It's like singing, it's like acting, it's a craft eh. Some people like actors and their style and their singing. So it's the same with broadcasting and anchoring and hosting.
Yeah, that's right. Some people like the ones with the history. They talk about the history. They talk
Yeah,
about like that
right.
one. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why there are a lot, so that you can kind of, choose who you like to listen
That's
to,
right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So now you mentioned the UAAP,
Mm,
basketball, volleyball. Now we'll get into your interviews with top NBA players or even the sports athletes here, no?
right.
Did you ever like think that you would be speaking to
No, no, no,
these
no, 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 no,
look at that.
no.
Oh my gosh,
It's
Um,
such a
crazy.
privilege.
I'm getting
since
goosebumps.
2000, yeah,
Wow.
2007, I think 2008.
Man.
No, I would be lying 100%, making it all up if I said I saw this coming. Um, just doing the UAP and the PBA back then or just doing radio back then was already a dream. I remember I used to say, I'd pay you money just put me on radio. Um, you never think about these things. You never dream about these things, especially going to the NBA,
Yeah.
hosting Kobe, hosting, LeBron and KD and Paul George. Sorry, I'm not I don't. I hope people are not thinking I'm dropping names or all that. Coach
We'll let the pictures. Don't
Spolstra.
worry.
Yeah, we'll let the
Yeah,
pictures talk.
these are
Don't
all
worry.
these are all just mind-blowing moments for me, and some of these moments my wife knows, and my mom and my dad know. Some of these moments I would sob to. I'm like, I cannot
Um,
believe they asked me to go, like 2011 when they asked me to go to the NBA for the first time. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. So this is all gravy, as they say, right? Gravy
yeah,
na to lahat eh. Yung UAP pa lang tsaka PBA, dream ko na yan eh. And then these are all things that gravy na to, kumbaga. Nakuha ko na yung fried chicken eh. Okay na eh. But these are just blessings and opportunities that ABS-CBN gave me, now Signal is giving me, and being associated with Nike for many many years. Also, they gave me opportunities to do these things, like with Jordan Clarkson, this one with LeBron
LeBron.
James. Um, I never take that for granted, and and you can ask TJ this even there when we're in the NBA, or when we're in the States. So Isaiah Thomas, when we were in the States, I would always say to TJ, I always come into this trip thinking it's my last trip, it's my last trip, because I want to enjoy it, and I never know what's going to happen. Which who would have, thunk the pandemic would happen, right, and end all of it, right? So that's the biggest lesson there. That this was like recently before the pandemic with KD. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest lesson there. Parang you never know what's going to happen. So everything that happened to me and is happening to me now, you have no idea. I don't want to be all romantic and dramatic about it, but it's it's just mind blowing. I couldn't have scripted it if I even wrote it myself or asked
Right.
for the opportunities. I just recently had a geeky moment also in the VNL. Um, I
Oh
was with the
yeah.
Mike, somebody considered as the Michael Jordan of the sport. So I had a moment with him. So not everyone's going to understand that.
Look,
So Vince Carter, yeah. So
human highlight reel. That's oh
exactly.
no
I
no that
mean,
yeah. Half man,
uh,
Dominating.
half machine.
half man,
Half
Yeah.
man,
half
half
Amazing.
machine.
amazing, half man, half
Half man,
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So no, no, these are all
Uh,
things that I will cherish. And if they don't happen again, they happened at least once. So okay na, di ba? Parang, and we
not
have
once.
pictures
Oh
to
my
prove it.
goodness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. So it's incredible opportunities, and I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who made it happen. So it's Paul George here
Well,
in the Philippines. This was right after his
oof.
debilitating injury,
Ooh.
that knee injury. Yeah, so he was on his way to recovery already. That was
So,
so good.
which NBA player who was the one that you really were, excited
Oof.
to
Well,
really?
it's got to be Kobe. I mean, at that time,
Yeah.
and I'm not just saying that because he has left us. Um, at that time that I hosted Kobe, it was his most successful year. He won a
Yeah.
championship. He won a gold medal. He won a Finals MVP. It was a year, or it was a stretch of 2 years. I know you guys can Google that. It was a stretch of 2 years where he won so much individually, All Star, NBA, Olympics. Medyo mabigat yan eh. And I caught him. He came to the Philippines and he loved his stay here in the Philippines.
Oh wow.
This moment, I remember it like it was yesterday. This was at BGC, right in front of the Nike store there. He even threw his shoe. He even went down to the Jeep,
Oh,
which was not all part of the script. He was all asked not to do all of these things because obviously the crowd would go crazy. But he loved the experience so much. And that moment also kind of turned the corner for me. That picture that you showed,
mm,
2008 or 2007, I had a lot of opportunities from a sporting standpoint after this moment.
mm.
Siguro, syempre, because it was Kobe, I had a lot of attention after it. Even I know the pictures were posted on ESPN2, and then locally there was a lot of buzz. That interview was also being aired nationally on radio. Right on top, you can see that half logo of Magic 89.9.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we aired that radio interview for 40 minutes. After that, I got a sports show. I got to host a lot of like events that led to a lot of other things. Then eventually, my relationship with Nike got stronger, and then I had a relationship with the NBA now. After that, 2 3 years after that, so this moment was very crucial to my own personal career. This was a turning
Gotcha.
point. Yeah.
And he looks like really interested to answer your questions and all that. Was he really like that?
Sometimes a picture can lie, di ba? Na parang, you just caught something in a
Yeah.
moment and he looked depressed or he looked happy. But this one, I think I would love to think he was genuinely happy. Like I said, he went against protocols. He went into the crowd where he wasn't supposed to because we all get briefed, right? Prior to
Yeah.
all of these things, security and everything. Kobe's not going to do this. Kobe's not going to do that. Okay, and then he does it. He does everything. He throws shoes and all that, and goes to the Jeep, goes into the crowd. So he was really happy. He was a rock star. and he loved it. He loved every moment. And he
He
did
loves
say
it.
that other than China, he says he he doesn't even get that kind of attention in the US, he said during that time.
Yeah.
Like, they really adored him. So this was very important to me for my personal reason, and then eventually because now that he's gone, this was the
Yeah.
first of three times that I hosted Kobe also. So that was also a big deal because I hosted him three times here in the Philippines. I think he's been to the country four or five times. I hosted three of those tours, which I think led to me hosting LeBron, hosting Paul George, and hosting, Jordan Clarkson or whatever for Nike. I think from Nike's standpoint, I think I proved myself during this event, and they trusted me with other events. As my dad would always say, your work now is always an audition for something. So, with what even when I'm doing the UAP now, for what I'm going into my 19th year in the UAP, um, I always have this mentality that I'm still auditioning for something. So that's why I want to try to stay sharp and not rely on stock knowledge and not rely on winging it, and always being prepared every year. Because you want to set an example to the younger ones, and
That's
they
right.
watch you. They're so keen, they're so observant, and they pick habits, they pick mannerisms, and they pick, certain things about you. So you want to make sure that they see correct habits.
Yeah. How do you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say you're saying it's gravy. That's yung gravy naging sabaw.
Grabe yan. Grabe. Grabe yan.
Yeah. We
Kape sa
actually have a
kanin, ketchup sa sinigang, kahit na ano na, kung ano yung paborito nyo. Yung,
no,
you know,
yeah, we
it's,
actually
it's,
have we have a question from one of our viewers.
sure,
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Sir Boom, sino po dream nyo na makasama sa commentary?
Good one.
Wow, what a question.
Yeah, good question.
First of all, I've been lucky to work with almost everyone. And just recently, I got to work with Denise Tan for the first time, and she made a post about it. Like, we've known each other for 2005, and I think she's been in the business for quite a while already in volleyball, and yet it was our first time to work together. So that's always great to work with, people that I wasn't able to work with before because of rival networks, right?
Yeah.
Sports properties. Um, so that was fun that I had that experience. But right now, I can't think of anyone because I think I've worked with almost everyone. I mean, even the dean, let's say Kinito, I've worked with him back then when I was in the PBA, and unfortunately, I was such a young boy, and I probably annoyed him, and I wasn't so, I wasn't hindi ako hinog at that time, and it was probably a chore for him that I was his anchor back then. But yeah, I've worked with so many people, and unfortunately, there are people that I admire but cannot work with because we are the same in terms of positions, right? Like
Right.
me and Miko are both anchors, me and Sir Seb are both anchors, and all that. So being with them in shows is already a dream for me because these are people that I admire. Noli Ayala, I just worked with in the Olympics just recently. We anchored the Olympic show on TV5. So that's a guy who gave me a break also back in the 2000 or 1999. So that's a big deal for me from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's so many people
How
who
about in the
paved the
NBA?
way.
Is there someone that you think that you want?
In the NBA,
Yeah,
If you
analyst,
get the
Reggie
chance.
oh my
Miller,
God,
or
do you have time? Are you serious? Ang dami. Sobrang
You
dami,
dami.
no?
wanna
Magagaling.
you can
Ay,
overthrow
magagaling.
Willie
Van
Wilson if you want.
Gundy.
Maraming magagaling. Working with Willie was such a joy. He was new, but he was so receptive to learning and teaching and just having fun. So, even if he's new, that was a dream for me to work with somebody that I covered, even if
Yeah.
he made me feel old. It's a dream to cover games uh, with people that you used to cover, like
Mhm.
Eliza Valdez. I worked with her na, Gia Morado, these greats in the sports world in the UAP. I'm now working with, and I covered their whole career. Denise Lazaro, Revilla, right? So Richie and obviously Larry, si
Oh
Larry
yeah.
Fonashare na, sabi ko nga, yung major injury niya sa UAP, ako pa yung anchor nung time na yun. I was the
Wow.
one. Yeah, so those moments are kind of tied to me and tied to his history. So to be able to work with these people, and I have to thank Signal for the opportunity to, because I learn from them too, Claudia. The truth is, I learn from them too,
Right.
whether it's just from an energy or an enthusiasm standpoint. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a technical thing. Parang when I see someone's enthusiasm, parang, oh, it brings me back. Oh, this is
Right.
2005 me, 2008 me. So nabubuhayan ako eh. So I want the viewers to not lose that sight of me of being very passionate and
Right.
enthusiastic of the league. But wow, there's so many people that I'd love to work with. The NBA,
Yeah.
just ko, lahat ng ilagay mo dyan sa TNT and sa
Lahat na, no?
ABC.
Oh,
I've had a chance to meet some of them also and chat with them during my time in the NBA. I met Ernie Johnson. I was
oh,
so
you met her. Oh my
starstruck.
goodness.
Yeah, didn't I send you the picture?
DJ.
I think I sent you the picture with Ernie
With
Johnson.
Ernie? Oh,
Yeah,
Let me
I think
scroll through.
so. And he was asking about us getting hit by the typhoon pa at the time. It
Wow.
was so, yeah. How are you guys in the Philippines? You just got hit by. He was saying it was such a great conversation with Ernie, and then Mike Breen. I met Mike Breen. I
Woo,
met,
Mike
oh,
Green.
yeah.
That's my
I thought
favorite.
I thought I sent all those pictures
oh my
also.
goodness. I have to say,
Doris Burke. Yeah, I sent those.
oh,
Yeah, so man, to work with Doris Burke on a game, oh, that would be a dream.
Man.
I'll
That would
look
be
for
my
it. I'll
dream.
send it. We could show it while
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
those
flash your
are.
phones. I
recording.
remember
Those
seeing the
pictures.
Mike Green. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was the Miami San Antonio finals when
Ooh,
Mike Breen, had a little chat. I had a little chat
man.
with him. So yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
NBA is like Matic super memorable. But how about the local games? Let's say local volleyball,
Napakadami.
UAAP. If I can like shift lane a bit, like what are the most
Sure.
memorable games that you
Oh
covered?
my God, there's so many. You do realize that's 18 years worth, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but that must be a crazy game though.
there are things like the 2006 UST run, the championship run basketball
Ateneo.
against Ateneo. That was huge. There was a UP run, and this one is being overlooked a lot. When Coach Lito Vergara was coaching UP at the time, sila Marvin Cruz, Totti Almeida,
I remember
those
watching that
players,
team. Yeah.
they made a run to the Final Four, won six straight, and they made this really great run and just came a game short of making the Final Four. And I think it was LaSalle who beat them the time of JV Casio, who prevented them from making the Final Four. But that run was amazing to watch and to be part of. Um, so that's a big thing. At the time when Ila Santos was playing with LaSalle that year when they won championships, those are memorable to me. And then the time where Eliza Valdez won that first championship for Ateneo, I think it was season 76. That's also big. This NU team this year, that's I'm gonna look at this year and I'm gonna look at this 18 years from now and maybe in some podcast also say that. Um, there's so many UST that UE perfect team 14-0 basketball by Coach Dito Pumaren and then lost to Coach Franz Pumaren in the finals
Oh,
They were stuck in
via
the
a
finals.
sweep. That's one thing. There was a volleyball game and this was and didn't involve the high profile teams, but it was the championship of FEU and Adamson, and all the volleyball fans know what I'm talking about. That series for the volleyball purists was just tremendous for us volleyball fans. Um, what else? Obviously, um, you know, Coach Norman and his five Pete. Obviously that was a big thing. Um,
They were unassailable. Yeah.
and how
Crazy
about the
teams.
Embala
oh, the
LaSalle
Imbala
team?
LaSalle
Yeah.
team.
That
Yeah,
was
that
my
was
Five,
year in
good.
school.
yeah, that was great. And then that team from UE that also made a run. I remember because some of the times when these teams make runs and would make a push for the Final Four. The ones with Charles Mami in UE, Coach Boise Zamar,
Oh my gosh,
Like
um,
Nami.
2013,
mga ganon. Yeah,
Roy
that
Sumang. Yeah.
Roy Sumang, and then the Ray Parks NU when they finally made that Final Four, and then eventually the NUFU Championship that attracted 25,000 people in Araneta, a record.
That's
Wasn't an
fast.
Ateneo LaSalle game. It was FEUNU. And that was a tremendous series, tremendous battle. Those are the things that I remember. Some of them, there are a lot of unfortunate also. Um, oh, yeah, the Arwin Santos championships and MVPs. Come on. That's just wild.
Yeah.
He
He
was
Yeah.
a
was so
crazy,
good. Yeah.
one of the best ever
Oh
in terms
gosh,
of,
yeah.
right, college basketball. That guy was unfazed. You know, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the Teng versus Teng matchup in the UST
USD
LaSalle.
LaSalle.
It's just so many, Claro, that and
These
I'm
are all
sure it
iconic though.
yeah,
They're all
and I'm sure
iconic.
I'll do injustice to the others that I forget to mention, but there are a ton, and a
Mm.
lot of volleyball games that were played in San Juan that were never noticed. That 5-5, of course, of Gretchen, G. Gervasio, Jem Ferrer, Nakachi, and these moments. The first time that that volleyball made it to Araneta, the first time that volleyball made it to MOA, I think that was also 2012, 2013. Those are like moments that pack the gym and that I feel like become turning points for the UAAP, whether it's for the league or for the broadcasting team, and to be part of that and just to witness that.
Mhm.
It's just too many in my memory bank right now. And I'm lucky to have all these memories, really. Again, sobrang swerte ko.
Yeah. So we're gonna show a photo, which Claro I
Mm,
think is so happy to
I
show.
found it on my phone,
sure.
but yun na lang.
Yeah,
Bang!
might be. So if you notice the background, that's all. Until now, Miami does that.
Miami.
White
Yeah.
heat. So they call it a white hot um, uh, coliseum, right? Where all the seats are white. There's white T-shirts. All of the audience can wear the T-shirt or wave
Yeah.
it like that. So this was just before. No, I'm sorry. This wasn't San Antonio. This was Dallas, Miami pa. This was the
Oh
Oh,
Dirk
my gosh.
Nowitzki.
Dirt
This was
Nowitzki.
the. I think this was actually Game 6. I think this was actually when Dirk won the championship in Miami. This was the day, and I figured this might be the last day. I have to get a picture with Mike Breen, and this was mga 2 hours before the game, and he was done rehearsing. And yes, guys, those guys from TNT, they rehearse their pre
Really?
games. Yeah,
No winging.
Wow.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and he right after, the security was not so strict. I had my credentials, which by the way, bawal yan. May picture na may credentials. I didn't know back then.
Ay, ganun ba?
Eh,
Bawal ba?
bawal yan na magpa-picture with the credentials. And yeah, and he indulged me with a picture and he asked me where I was from. I told him that. And I was just, oh, wow. Because it co-anchor. So he was so happy. And then eventually he had to go already. But yeah, that was a moment. That was a great moment. And that was, I think, game 6 where Miami lost 2-4. The LeBron James first finals ni LeBron in Miami.
Ah, that's his
And they
first.
lost,
Yeah.
yeah, in with Miami. And then he
Okay.
lost to Dirk Nowitzki. I think that was that moment, this game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So thanks for pulling that up. That was
Yeah.
bang.
Gusto ni
Bang.
Claro yan.
Like Green,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
Green.
my favorite
And then
Like
we
anchor in
have,
the US.
of
Kenny
course.
the Jet Smith.
Kenny.
So this picture, I have to give credit. This picture was taken by Ricky Flores. I was with her and TJ at the time. This was the same time I think that I met Coach Eric Spolstra. I met him and I met Rudy Tomjanovich in that same court. This was in Houston, the Houston All Stars, 2014 maybe. I'm not sure. That's the Houston All Stars during the NBA All Star. The Jet,
The
Kenny the Jet
Jet.
Smith. Yeah, man, that's so fun.
And then, of course,
Houston.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go,
Course,
Ernie
EJ.
Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, EJ. Oh my God, I'm so
He looks
happy with that
friendly,
picture.
huh? He looks friendly.
Yeah, he was. That was a moment. I mean, I was starstruck. Look at who's behind me. I think it was Magic
Shaq.
Johnson behind me or
Oh
Shaq.
my gosh, that's
I
right.
think it's
People who
Shaq.
were coming behind me were Shaq, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, but this was the guy. EJ was the one. I was like so starstruck because he's a goat, man. He's a goat
Yeah,
on sports shows hosting.
yeah. Their show with Shaq, Charles Barkley, and
Kenny Smith.
Kenny
Yeah.
Smith. Funny.
Yeah. And then they have Shaq the
And
Fool at a certain point.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's the one who anchors that one, you know. And he, if you study it from a broadcaster standpoint, he doesn't over anchor. You know,
Oh,
I mean, next time you watch that show
yeah.
inside the NBA, pansinin nyo, hindi siya, he sets it up, he sets the table, but he never over anchors, he never over hosts the show.
Yeah.
It's just right. It's perfect. He doesn't speak so fast. He's not in a hurry. He's so clear. And obviously, he's so articulate and eloquent. So that's also part of his genius. So that was a moment. That's starstruck talaga ako niyan. EJ.
It's buti na lang nakasalita ka pa eh, no? Mamaya
Oo,
nakadil na ako.
siya kasi yung nagtanong eh. Na parang,
Ah,
I heard you guys got hit by a typhoon. That was around that time
That's
eh.
the one.
That was
Okay.
the one. That was the conversation mismo. And then we took TJ was the one who took that picture. So thank you, TJ, for capturing that moment. He knew I was geeking out. So I said, okay, I'll take a so he took several pictures of me chatting with EJ. So that's a
wow.
Hall of Famer right there, man.
Super.
Yeah, right. A dream come true for you, and the
Super.
dream keeps coming true. Like
Bonus nga yan eh. Puro mga bonus na yan. Puro mga gravy na yan.
mga gravy.
Blessings. Oh, thank you.
So we're already in an hour. Wow, it's a lot conversation. Clara, you have anything before we go to our
Oh my
magical
God.
questions? Not yet. We're not there yet.
I'm good. I'm good. I
Okay.
got to ask that iconic game, and that was like a trip
Mm.
down. All the UAP stuff we got to watch. Man.
Sorry, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot.
Yeah, but these are
Um,
all iconic in their own right. I'm just like, oh my gosh,
yeah, like,
all
diba?
memory
There's so
lane.
many, games like
Amazing.
the Cardonas, the LA Tenorio games, all of these, the Enrico Villanueva games. I mean, there's so many, even from the other schools, obviously, like I mentioned, the FEU run of Arwin.
And
That Adamson run, by the way, with Coach Leo Austria and Ken Bono. Remember when they were the only ones who were beating Ateneo, if I'm not mistaken, in the elimination,
I remember this
right?
run. Yeah,
Leo
he was
Austria.
MVP.
Those
Ken was
Ken
MVP then.
Bono was,
he had a
yes,
season
he was.
MVP.
Yeah, season
Yes.
MVP. It was season MVP. Then.
These are, I remember that kasi hindi madalas mangyari, di ba? I mean, there's so many
Fourth
of
seed
the,
lang.
right, there's so many of the Ateneo championships and the LaSalle championships. But in my time, at the very least, di ba? I remember the runs of UP, UE, yun, the Adamson one, and then UST from sixth place to champion. Ang bigat noon, 2006, Coach Pido's first year. Those are, you know, um, things that I will remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in volleyball, there's a lot. Yeah.
So much, a lot of experience for you, no?
Yeah. I mean,
Lot.
yeah. It's a lot of age, a lot of experience, a lot of great
It
moments.
comes with
And
age, diba?
yeah. And I have to say, a lot of great people that
Mm,
I've worked with. And you only see the ones on air. I mean, the people that I worked with off air, the production staff that I've worked with, the ones who really make us look good, our producers, segment producers, our floor directors, our directors and EPs. Some of them I've worked with for 20 years already. Some of them 1, 2, 3 years. I've made such lifelong friends also
right.
too, other than just great people who have taught me in the world of production. So those are the people who really have to get the credit. They make the broadcast work. They only see the product, they only see the game, and they only see a lot of the other stuff. But there's so much that goes behind, as in any sport, in any broadcast, in any podcast. There's so many things that come into play that don't get mentioned, and when you have the opportunity to shout them out, you have to, because we get the credit or the blame even, and the spotlight, but they have a big part of that too.
All right. So we're almost at that. We're already at the end of
Mm.
our show. So
The
Clara and I,
beginning of
we
the
have
end.
like
Yes.
three
The beginning
three
of it.
beginning of the end. We have three questions that we normally throw out. It's
Yeah.
called our magical
Right.
question. So I'll go first. So you started uh, radio, and then now in sports, and you have a lot of NBA and even the UAAP experience. Boom, how would you like once you retire? How would you like people to remember you? What legacy is it that you want to leave behind?
Oh my God. I'm always uncomfortable with the question. Not necessarily because of the topic of retirement and all that. I'm far from that also to begin with. Um, but also because as I got older in the business, I think I focused less on
Mm,
that question and that part. When I was younger, I remember having conversations with friends that what do I want to leave? What kind of mark would I want to leave? Um, uh, I don't know when it happened, but I just realized that why do I have to think about those things?
mm,
I shouldn't. I shouldn't be conscious. It's just like that's the macro of the micro that I was talking about, being spontaneous about games. You just do the game, prepare to a certain degree, and then let it all flow. And then let people judge you. Let people have their opinions. Let people say what they want to say, good or bad,
mm.
because you cannot force anything on them, right? So
That's right.
that's the micro one. The macro one is that whole legacy thing. I don't wanna think about that because I don't want it to influence how I work.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know if it makes sense. I just don't want to work that way, not towards that direction. I'm trying to create a legacy. I
Yeah.
used to think that way, and then I realized, nah, I don't. I think again, it's making it about myself now. So I changed my view.
Yeah.
The most important part to me was I hope my parents are proud. That's
Right.
the first thing because when I got into it, and I got into this job because I really needed money. You know, when I started working radio and all of the other stuff, I needed money.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that it was in a field that I love. So I got lucky. So part of it was to help my parents.
Mm,
We weren't a well-off family, so we had to fend for ourselves. So it was more necessity other than anything else. So
right.
so the biggest thing for me was that my parents are proud. One. Number two, from a I guess standpoint of working, and I mentioned the production team here. I just want the simplest things that I'm known to. I have a reputation with my team from then on until now that I'm dependable, that I don't need to be micromanaged all the time, that I can be relied on in making certain decisions on the fly in terms of the production, that I'm resourceful, and that I'm kind of a soldier. Patuin mo ako dito, sige, gagawin natin yan. Pasa mo sa akin si ganito, game. Game ako dyan. Um, so that's one of the things that I wanted, I guess, for my staff and team to know of me and eventually have that reputation with them na parang I'm they ask me to do this, I'll do more than that.
You put an extra
You know,
mile.
yes, I always was conscious about that
Right.
I know that this is what I'm supposed to do, but hey, I can help here too. Without, of course, overstepping, right? Okay. And three, and I mentioned this earlier, I just want that the experience is positive for the people around me. So that
I like that.
in years from now, when you ask them, it was a great experience. It was fun. At the very least, that's all. Yun na yun. At the very least, masabi nila, oh, it was fun. My time there, it was fun. My time with him was fun. The rest, you can't force anymore eh. Kasi
Yeah.
lalo na in sports, lalo na in the social media world, people are going to hate me no matter what. That's just how it is. Um, I've come to live with that. I've dealt with death threats and
Social
petty
media.
social
So
media stuff.
yeah.
And now it's a source of entertainment for me. I really never took it personally because I always say this. I rather have that because I know that the people are so invested in the league, they're so invested in their teams, they care so much
Yeah.
rather than wala silang pakialam. Ah, nanalo ba si ganito? Ah, okay. Then hear that the conversation is
The
ongoing. You
emotions.
guys are
Yeah.
still talking about the UP win.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're invested. And
That's right.
sometimes because when fans are invested, they also say things that they don't mean, or they make the
That's
wrong assumptions about certain
right.
people. We're all guilty of it. I'm a sports
That's
fan
right.
too, right? When I watch the NBA, I make assumptions about certain people too and players. Of course I do. Um, that's just how it is, right? That's sports, but I'd rather have that. And I guess you're somebody who just drifts along and they don't remember you for anything, right? At least
That's right.
you made a little bit of impact with not just the audience, but also the people that you work with. So I know it's a long-winded answer to your question, but I just wanted to make sure that I also um, impart the fact that I'm not caught up with that
Awesome.
anymore
Yeah.
as I was when I was younger. Na dapat ganito daw. Nah, I just got older. Dina, it's about them. It's really about them.
That's right.
Players have to have their legacies. Teams have to have their legacies. If anybody says something about me and a legacy in the UAP, then let them say it. It's not for me to say anymore.
Yeah. And speaking of fun, we have a comment from one of our good friends.
Ooh,
Oh,
Sir
boss.
Noel.
You know, speaking of, diba, Noel was there from the very first day that I started in the PBL. I told the PBL story earlier, how I was just walked in. These were the guys, him, the late Barry Pasqua. Those were the guys who took me under their wing and, told me this is how it works in the PBL. This is how, kasi PBL lang naman yung ginagawa ko nun. They showed me the ropes. They were always nice to me. That's another thing, you just have to be nice to people because
Yeah.
10 years, 15 years from now, you don't want to be remembered as the guy who snubbed a
Oh yeah.
newbie or put
Yeah.
down a newbie or
Correct.
did not help a newbie, because I've experienced that too. And that's one of the reasons why I do this for also the correspondence because I didn't have the opportunity to be under people who
Right.
really taught me the way. I had many people who were good to me, like Noel and Barry and, you know, all the other guys, Sev and Sir Nolly, who
Mm,
were good to me when I was younger. But there were also guys who were not, and I was
yeah.
younger. And I don't want the correspondents to have that experience
Yeah.
because you want it to be just a fun and positive experience for them, whether they choose it as a career or not. So, Noel, thank you very much. All these years,
And then he says
you know,
this.
Sir Noel never worked with you.
see, yun ang yung sinasabi natin kanina, di ba? I've never worked with
Yeah.
Sev, I've never worked with Miko, I've never worked, Nolly, I had the chance to with Olympics, but in a game, yeah, Noel and I, because we're both anchors, which was my answer earlier.
The
Unfortunately, a
sad
lot of the
part,
people
yeah.
that I want to work with, I can't. And it's not
Yeah.
because of a network thing anymore. It's just we play the same role. Pareho kaming point guard, pareho kaming sentro. Parang gano'n di ba? Hindi ka na pwedeng,
Sub
yeah.
lang talaga.
Oo, sub
Same
lang,
game.
Yes.
sub,
So,
sub lang, sub lang. Yan.
yes.
Oh,
So, yun.
yeah.
I'm thankful to these guys who set the table for us and really were trailblazers for us. Kaya nga sila yung nagbigay ng mga clinics, di ba? Dati, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, di ba, Claro,
Yes.
that, they have influenced a lot of us who were newbies in the business.
correct. Ayan. Claro?
Oh, so where do you, Boom Gonzalez, see yourself 5 years from now? That's like my part in question.
I've um I hope I'm still doing, what it is I'm doing because I'm still very passionate about basketball and volleyball. Um, I've, I mentioned it earlier that there were certain parts of my UAP career that have become turning points for the sport that witness, I was there to witness or maybe even lucky to be part of. And I still hope to be part of that in the next 5 years. Volleyball, the sport has gone through so many like twists and turns. And again, the last 2 years have been so good for the sport that I
Yeah,
feel we might go back to this conversation. I just had this conversation last year with somebody that this there's a rising tide
Yeah.
for it right now, and it's gone through that already in different forms in previous years. So I want to be part of that. But
Yeah.
having said that, Claro, if nothing happens, and I said this in a podcast 2 years ago when the pandemic happened and we all lost our jobs at ABS-CBN Sports. I said this, that if I'm not hired for anything anymore, let's say starting today, may irereklamo pa ba ako sa mga nangyari dun sa parang ang kapal naman
Experiences
ng
mo.
mukha ko to say that kulang pa. It's more than I would have dreamed of and um, thought of. I
Right.
would be sad. Obviously, that doesn't make it less depressing or sad. But in retrospect, ang dami ko nang nagawa at nangyari at nakilala. Sabi ko nga, the most
Yeah.
important part of the whole journey is the people that you were with
That's
also
right.
along the way. Sobrang bonus na yung mga iba eh. Sobrang bonus na lang yung iba. So now I'm just enjoying every single thing. Noel sees me during the games and he sees me, I'm still having a great time. I'm not this grumpy old man. Um, diba? Na parang going through the motions of things because this is just a regular thing. You know, I see Noel's passion when he does his thing and I hope he sees mine and my enjoyment when I'm around these athletes kasi napakaswerte namin sa
Oh
mga
yeah.
nagawa namin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, our Kobe gigs, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Parang,
Yeah.
it's bonus na yung mga yan eh. Diba? Bonus
Gravy.
na lahat yan. Gravy,
Gravy.
it's really gravy, yeah.
Naging sabaw.
Sabaw, ketchup.
KFC. May KFC ganun.
There's
Okay.
May sponsor ka, ah.
Oh, I
Sana.
wish. I wish.
KFC.
I
Hindi ako
wish.
kumakain ng
Yeah.
Okay. Our last question.
Go. Sir Noel's the grumpy old man. That's when Sir Noel doesn't get lunch, I guess.
Ano
ahead,
lang yan,
Claudia.
just a couple of beers will fix that.
Oh yeah. Tama. Okay, last question. Okay, you're familiar with Back to the Future, right? I'm sure. Back to the
Oh, you
Future
mean the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the DeLorean? Okay, so you
Yes.
enter you enter the DeLorean and you go back in time.
Unang-una, pag sinabi kong hindi ako familiar, ang kapal naman ng mukha ko, di ba? Kaya, masyado ka namang Yes, of course, I'm very familiar. Yeah.
Okay.
DeLorean, you enter the DeLorean.
You
Okay.
go back 1986. I'm not sure how old you are. Let's just say you're 14 years old.
86.
Yeah. Let's say you're 14-year-old. You're 14
UP,
year old.
during the UP championship.
Yeah, they won. Yeah. See, time.
Okay.
What would
Top
you
Gun.
tell? Top Gun. Oh, that's right.
I'll keep quiet.
What would you tell your
Oh my
14-year-old self?
If I were 14,
Yeah.
oh, I remember when I was 14.
You meet your 14-year-old self. What would you tell him?
Stay the course.
Yeah.
Be patient. And at exactly 14, I would probably say this too shall pass. Because that was a very trying time for my family. From a financial standpoint, that was because I started working when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's a fact. And I mentioned it earlier na, di ba, sabi ko nga, one of the reasons why I started working at an early age, because we needed the money. From a
Right.
financial standpoint, we needed the money. So at 14, if you're asking me, if I was 14, I was going to talk to myself, I'd say, this too shall pass. Konting, lang, tiyagaan lang. Medyo mahirap yung buhay namin ng 14, but, got through it. Yeah, that was a tough time. Yeah.
See, yung iba, when they would choose mag-track and field ka, fix your shooting, fix your
Yung mga ganun.
jump shot. Si Larry ata, fix your jump shot eh. Or no,
Well,
that was Willie. Willie was said, fix your jump shot, I think. I forgot, but...
Well,
Yeah.
even if I tell myself at 14, fix your jump shot, it wouldn't have done anything to my career. So I'll be more practical with my answer. I mean, but that's the truth. 14 was a tough time for me. Just to be able to go to school, just to pay for
Wow.
school. Yeah, it was that tough. It was that tough. So, which makes me appreciate the journey even more, right? So,
Right.
if you're talking about that age, that's what I'm going to say. Just to stay the course,
Right.
tsagaan lang, and makakaahon din,
Yeah.
I guess would be the phrase that I'd use.
Okay. So we started this interview. Now you still had the sun behind you.
Oo nga eh.
Now, now it's
Hindi
not.
po, hindi po virtual background yan na
Dito,
pinalitan ko ah.
hindi virtual background. It's already towards the night time for you.
Hello
With
everyone. Sorry,
boom,
sorry.
boom is a
Kung,
baller.
I-
Baller.
Yeah, yeah.
we used to play ball together. Yes, we did. A lot of those
That's
times.
right. So this is now your time to do your shout out. Of course, if you have, the people in the background, especially the cameraman, the
Oh
production
yeah,
crew.
well,
Yeah, this is your
yeah.
time.
Family,
So
friends. I'm
family,
sure you
I
have
think
friends,
I,
fans.
you're fine.
yeah, I think I said that earlier already. The ones who are behind the scenes, diba, who made us look good and continue to make us look good and continue to teach us, be patient with us and our tantrums. Maraming salamat. They know who they are. I constantly say, show them love, whether it's on social media or not, mostly not. So thank you, my wife, for her patience. Um, my mom, obviously my biggest supporter and always watches everything. So this was all for her and my dad. All this work stuff that I did was for them anyway. And then it just eventually became a career. I just got lucky that it was in a field that I really, really enjoy. But yeah, all the people behind the scenes made, especially this year, happen for the UAP. Wow, what a challenge this year was. And last year for the PVL, when the PVL was in Ilocos, in an Ilocos bubble. We were a skeleton crew, both the ones in Ilocos and the ones in Manila. Napakaliit ng team namin, pero we got that through. So shout out to those teams, our production teams in Signal and One Sports. And of course, the 16, 17 years that I spent at ABS-CBN Sports and the lifelong friends that I've had there. And even before that in the PBL. So maraming salamat, for all of that. And to you guys, and the podcasts who asked me to guest, um, as you said, whether established podcasts or small podcasts, or doesn't matter. We got to start somewhere, right? We all did. So
Yeah.
thank you for thinking about us to guest on your show and share our stories and highlight also stories of other people, not
Yeah.
just ourselves. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for the time and
Yeah.
wisdom.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you to my wife for tonight.
Right. Shout out.
She's there.
I think
Shout out.
I think she's watching her Korean novella stuff
Oh god. Also Korean
while
novel.
while yeah, while waiting for me.
Okay. All right. So our next uh
Mm.
segment is wait. Oh, sorry, Claro.
It's
There you
okay.
go.
Got
I
you.
was wait.
Excited.
Yeah. Go. Where is it? Where is it? Are you done?
Who
Yeah.
the
You.
heck are we? What a draft.
Okay.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay.
All right. So in this draft, we will be giving our choices for the best team monikers or best team,
For sports
which is going to be
team
very difficult, right?
monikers.
So, wait, we have a good one, uh, for you.
Sir Noel.
Yeah. Uh,
Wow
this,
naman,
it,
Sir Noel.
Noel. Boom. He says, "You'll
Oh, it's
always
me.
be one of the best." Yeah,
Salamat.
it's for
Thank you.
you. Yeah. Then he said,
I,
he made
It
me and
was
Bill
funny.
Velasco have the double.
You're playing
oh
basketball.
man, that's when we could still play basketball. That's when I love
All right.
those nights. Sabay kain, sabay inom pagkatapos, like real athletes.
I'll imagine Sir Noel commentating while playing in the game
Oh,
to throw you
yeah.
off from your
A
Bang!
lot,
opponent.
lot of we have a lot of trash talking, pero yung mga funny trash talking. It's fun
Must be
times,
fun
fun
to listen to
bonding moments.
Oh
broadcasters.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so paano to?
So
What do I have to do?
You
so
have
it
the
could be any
honors.
team, whether it be volleyball, basketball, baseball,
From the
hockey,
past or current, doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Anything.
Yeah, any.
Anything. But the catch is we can
Kasi,
repeat answers.
okay, so I just have to give out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Like
and
what
we
floats
no
your boat.
repeating, no
Okay.
repeating.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And tama, Noel is watching. He might be appreciative of this. To me, one of the best team monikers were from the old NBA.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Sorry, pero I have to go back for this one kasi sobrang gaganda kaya ng mga monikers nila. Alam mo,
Uh-huh.
Batangas Blades.
Yun. Oh.
Batangas Blades.
So that is it. That's it. Oh, that's your
Just
first
here,
choice.
maybe I can start with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna
Okay.
have to go with those answers
NBA.
right
Oh
now
my goodness.
because
Okay.
I
Okay
applied for
na.
the NBA, by the way.
Mhm.
I did not make the NBA cut also back then, which
We have
we were talking about.
Yeah.
we have so many
Ah,
off the record conversations about
yeah.
local team names, kung base. But we can't
We
say it
don't we
about
don't
air.
want to say it on air because we might
Exactly.
get
It
might
needs
get
beer. But no
actually
record
actually
button.
maganda
But
yan.
Claudia, second choice.
Ako, Arsenal Gunners.
Gunners.
Okay. Yeah, these are
Yeah.
like the cool ones.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Badoy to. Lakers. But I will establish it's Los Angeles.
Oh man, no,
Not
Laguna was the
Milwaukee?
best.
No,
Huh?
the
Laguna
reason why
Lakers.
I established the reason why I established Los Angeles is because like when I was growing up, I heard Laguna Lakers. I'm like, wow, sakto talaga. This Laguna is literal a lake. So it
Correct.
made me laugh because it's so perfect.
Yes,
So
that
parang
was supposed to be my
nagtitrickle.
second answer.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
That's why when he said NBA, I was like, oh no, I'm
I
dead.
know.
My answer's gone.
My
Uh,
goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
One more.
Give me a second one. I don't
so
I'll
supposed
just
to be
get it
me
up. Yeah.
again?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Claro.
I'll go with
Claro.
No way.
second, yeah.
Okay, go.
I'll get this out of the way. Green Archers.
Oh,
Oh, of
actually,
course.
no, that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, are you from Lasal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From
Okay.
Lasal.
Both of you,
Yeah.
that's why you said green. Kanina.
Green.
Okay.
Yeah. That's fine. Oh my god. I don't know if I should be like Badui or I'll go
For
with the
all you know,
boom
that's a
route.
sleeper. And if you think it's Badoy, it might be boom. Like crazy, like bang. I mean, sorry.
No, I like Iloilo Volts.
Mhm.
Yan!
Yeah.
Bolts sila, bolts. Sorry.
Bolts. BOLTS.
Di bolts. Bolts.
Bolts.
Parang Meralco. Ganon.
Di ba?
They did
Iloilo
it
bolts sila,
first.
di ba? Tama ba ako? O volts? O volts ba
Iloilo.
sila?
Search na natin.
Volts ba o bolts?
Noel, if you're there.
Bolts. Parang
Iloilo. Wow.
bolts yata
Mega
eh.
Volts. Iloilo
Mega
Mega
volts.
Volts.
Ah,
Mega
mega
Volts.
volt. Mega
Volt.
volts.
Mega
Okay.
Volts.
Kala ko sila yung OG ng Meralco.
Mm.
Mega
Ay, one
Volts.
word or ganon? Ayun.
One word.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay,
Yeah,
sige.
yeah,
Since
one word.
okay, since taken na yung Laguna Lakers, which was my second choice, how about the Sarangani Marlins? Oh, it's even better than Batangas Blades, although Batangas Blades makes sense, di ba?
Yeah,
Because
oh
of
my
the what do you call that? Balisong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marlins, right? Sorry.
Marlins, yeah.
Marlins,
Sarangani
yeah.
Marlins.
As like Florida Marlins, ganon.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a good ring when you make it local.
Yeah, I know. It's the best.
Oh, your turn
Okay,
again.
Boom gets another
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Are you okay that I'm using NBA? It's fine.
Oh,
Of
it's so
course.
entertaining,
Of course.
to be
There's
honest.
no.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of your younger listeners probably have not heard of these teams, so it's an education too.
Mhm.
The Negro Slashers.
Ako,
Si Noel siguro tawa na natawa si Noel. Yung mga pinili ko.
Badoy my answers kasi ako my MBA is only hanggang Batangas and Laguna. Like,
Yeah, I'm
Laguna.
like afraid to give
Badoy
mine.
yung mga
I
answers.
remember
Manalo
because I
ka
was
na
studying.
dito.
I remember because I was studying that league because I wanted to be on-air personality or interviewer or whatever, which I did not make the cut at that time. So I'm using now the names that I remember from that team, from that league rather.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm gonna go like NBA. Atlanta Atlanta Hawks.
Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Paisip ako.
Hirap. Ako rin eh. I'm trying to delay. uh, Houston Rockets. That's why I ended up cheering for Houston because of the mascot for starters.
They're not Houston Rockets anymore. They're called the Philadelphia Rockets.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, right? Because of Maury and all
Yeah,
the people
with all
transferring.
the
Yeah.
transactions.
Oh my. Ooh. Yeah, I'll go
Oh
for
my
it na lang. LA Dodgers.
Nah,
As they said, they're based in Brooklyn. People dodge the trolleys, so they made that
Oh,
their
is
name.
that what it is?
That
Is
was the
it
history
like-
lesson when I visited Dodger Stadium. That the
Is that
historian
what
was
it
saying.
is?
Pero Brooklyn and okay, they just moved to LA. They kept the name.
Okay.
No, that's all right. I'm gonna go NHL. Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Oh man. Ah,
Oh yeah. That's good.
no.
The
That's
Mighty
good stuff.
Ducks. Yeah.
Mighty Ducks are the best.
The
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks. Yeah.
Right.
I can't wait for your answer.
Yeah, me also.
Yeah, I'm like
The last
excited to
two.
hear.
It's gonna
Hey,
be bad.
I mentioned Alex Compton, right?
Yes.
Earlier,
Manila
I just
Metro
wanna.
Stars.
Yes, sir.
That's good one.
We will tag him, no?
That's my
The
team because I'm from Manila, so
Yeah.
Manila Metro Stars.
Grand finale for
Grand
Boom.
finale.
Oh
for
man,
you.
okay. Oh wow, doon ako na-stump doon sa huli. Hmm. Hmm.
You're running
Oh,
down the name.
no, I'm gonna show love. Lady Bulldogs.
Lady
Let's show
Bulldog.
love
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
dominant year.
yeah.
That's
And they're
my
still
ode to them.
dominating.
They're going to be
Yeah,
the
oh gosh,
NU Lady Bulldogs.
yeah. Ako,
Good for them.
I like this ring, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Timberwolves.
Yeah,
I
because
thought you were gonna go. Yeah.
the Timberwolves are actually big wolves. Like they're really huge.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
right.
They're
Yep.
huge. So
I thought you were
Uh,
gonna go like Minnesota Timber Bulls because there's a time all the Bulls went there.
oh yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
The Bulls are. I should be ashamed that I did not even mention the Bulls are my favorite all-time
You could
team. So
you could put it as a honorable
yeah,
mention.
Let's
but
put it
it's
na.
I mean, how cliche is that, right? So, but sige.
We put honorable mentions anyway.
Yep. Well, if you want the local twist, I saw a restaurant before. It's called Chicago Bulalo. They literally used the whole logo and all
Alam,
the
alam mo
branding.
naman, alam mo naman tayo, magaling tayo sa ganyan eh.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
Dami, sobrang
pagbuko.
dami.
Ganun.
Yeah, sobrang dami.
Yeah.
Yours, Claro.
It's gonna be Badoy if I use NBA because I googled
I
it.
love. Oh yeah, you can.
I'll be stealing booms. Nah, it's
Teams,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanggang Laguna Lakers lang talaga ako.
Laguna
I'm pretty torn.
Lakers.
I'm pretty torn.
Ah,
San Miguel Beermen. Let's go.
Beermen.
Oh,
Beermen.
I love them.
I'm like, that's my teams. Since I was a kid, I'm like, as a kid, like,
Oh,
we don't even
man.
drink beer. We're too young, diba? And then it means more now that we can drink.
Beerman, yeah, the Beerman.
Really?
That's classic.
Beermen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dami na rin pinagdaan ng mga players dyan na sila rin. Kumbaga, they're still the Beermen, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
good stuff.
Ooh.
All right.
God, do you want to fill up an honorable mention? I think I'm out.
I'm out.
Me honorable mention. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, galing eh, boom. Like you filled up your honorable mention.
Yeah.
This was an exercise for me. Mhm.
Gotta show love to the Bulldogs and the Bulls.
I
Last two pala.
What was the Toyota Tamaros ba yun? Pero that was like 80s. I'm gonna be a
70s and 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I
don't.
got mine.
I'm thinking of NFL.
Up what mine na. It's catchy, but I don't even cheer for them.
Hmm.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I know. They won. They won the NHL. the Stanley Cup? Colorado Avalanche.
Colorado. Yeah.
Avalanche.
The Avalanche. Yeah. At least we have.
All
Yeah.
right, there you go.
Hey, we did
Yeah.
it.
Yours is the best. I
Boom, boom
complete.
wins. Boom wins.
Yeah, hands down,
Nayari
hands
kayo sa
down.
Yeah.
Batangas Blades eh.
We- I
Nadal.
concede the title like how I said Ateneo was gonna win basketball earlier this season.
The
Uh,
glass is the best talaga, Batangas Blade.
uh,
I think you threw us off. You really threw us off.
Uh-huh.
Galing,
God.
galing,
Yep.
galing. Okay,
Thanks, Julian, for
megavolts. Yeah,
correcting megavolts. Sabi ni Julian.
yeah.
Megavolts. Yan,
Megavolts.
Yep.
salamat,
Mhm.
Megavolts.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so boom, that concludes our show.
Thank
Let's
you very much for having me.
Thank
no,
you.
thank
Had
you, thank you.
fun.
It's our privilege. Yeah, it's such a privilege, and
Mhm.
thank you, Noel, for watching. So
Yes, thank you.
we'll just put you backstage, and we're just gonna end our show. Thank you so much, Boom. This is
Salamat.
105,
Stay
episode
safe,
105.
everyone.
You
Take
too.
Okay.
care.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can go watch telenovelas with your wife now.
All right.
Bye.
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 Oop.
Yeah.
All
You got it.
right. So that was good. That was
Mhm.
good.
It's just so cool
Mhm.
connecting with Boom because I know like UAP, it's all Boom Boom. So add to guys like Tito Miko, iconic
Yeah.
names, and Boom's so humble. That's what I love.
I
Like
very.
we super see him, it's like wow up there, but he just showed us that he's so humble in the middle of everything. Kaka-inspire yung humility. I can say.
Very. Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the way he says about being an anchor. He really is evident on how he really makes people comfortable in the seat. That
Yeah, we had so many pictures, right? Of all the new
well
guns.
that yeah, and I like the way I like his advice. You don't over anchor. You don't give
Oh
too
yeah.
much. Yeah, you also let the analyst do his stuff. Let
Mhm.
him learn. Let him fail. And I did not know he got rejected in the NBA and the PBA, but look where he is now.
Yeah.
Right?
He's
That-
being a mentor for people because the mentor he didn't have.
yeah,
That's what really struck me this
that's
episode.
right. All right. So before we end, a little reminder. Why are you there? There
I
you
don't know.
go.
There you
All
go.
right. So, globally, who the heck are we? Is part of the Globally Ballin Network. You could check out their website for original articles, audio projects, and video projects. Part of the Globally Ballin Network, of course, is our show, An Eternity of Basketball, Hang Time with Denise Densai, and Next Man Up. You can also follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and also on TikTok. You can subscribe to our Globally Ball YouTube channel and check out all our 100 to 1 to 105 episodes. And if you're on the go, Spotify, check out Hang Time Alternative Basketball. Who the heck are we on Spotify? Speaking of Hang Time, we got episode 53 with Jai Reyes, Commissioner of the Phil Basketball Association. And also Mukbang with Jojo, episode 5. I know that they have a new episode, so check out the Globally Balling YouTube channel for the next episode. And Next Man Up, they had a live show last Monday. You could go to their site as well with Jello Vito and Diego Dario. And Claros Titos and Eternity of Basketball.
Naman
Tomorrow
si
they
Tito
have
Noel.
they have Dean Tolson tomorrow, PBA import. And thank you to our sponsors. So that's New Era, Jody's Delight, Hindalaban Farms, Aquaflask, Fujimama, Founders Donuts, Barrio Festa, The Mad Brownies, Chops to Go, and Muffin Mafia. So yeah, so there you go. Thank you so much again, Claro. This is in the books, episode 105. Check out our next guest by looking at our Facebook page. See ya.